People of the internet. So let's get into it, folks. As I mentioned, of course, the one thing that I do know took place this past weekend, of course, was this news of Trump's life being at risk again. A second time? Is this a second assassination attempt? What's going on? To be honest, folks, of course, I heard this news on Twitter originally. And when I first heard it, I saw the headline, kind of chuckled, but not chuckled in, you know, wishing harm on Donald Trump, just chuckled at the narrative, or just the thought of the audacity, I guess you could say, of yet another attempt, as if one wasn't enough. They try to run this narrative again. Now, if you guys may not be familiar, you know how I originally felt about the first assassination attempt. There's a video on it, of course. I'm on the side of the internet that believes that was all phooey, as they would say. Oh, phooey. BS. I was on that side of the internet. Call me conspiracy theory, call me whatever, because I'm seeing, you know, of course, as there usually is on the internet, it's two sides of people. Some people believe it was indeed legitimate. Some people believe it was indeed BS. I am on the side of the internet that believes the first Trump assassination was BS. I believe the second one was also BS as well, too. But I have a video pulled up here by NBC News. It's not too long. Let's go ahead and get the context of it. Of course, this will probably help me out a little bit as well. So let me just get some context. Let me see what the mainstream media, how is the mainstream media posing this story? Let's get some insight.
Tonight, the FBI investigating what they say appears to be an apparent assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump.
Shortly before 2 p.m. on Sunday at Trump International Golf Club at West Palm Beach. The U.S. Secret Service personnel opened fire on a gunman located near the property line.
As a precaution, agents rushed the former president to safety. According to sources, Trump was between the 5th and 6th hole when the incident took place.
What they do is they have an agent that jumps one hole ahead of time to where the president was at. And he was able to spot this rifle barrel sticking out of the fence and immediately engage that individual, at which time the individual took off.
Officials say 2 backpacks and a rifle were found in the bushes.
And there's also a GoPro on the fence there where he was intent on filming what was going on. We were able to locate a witness that came to us and said, hey, I saw the guy running out of the bushes. He jumped into a black Nissan, and I took a picture of the vehicle and the tank.
The license plate tracked by law enforcement on I-95. The sheriff's office in neighboring Martin County says they stopped this black Nissan and took a suspect into custody.
There was a lone driver in the vehicle. That driver is now in custody and in the hands of the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
This happening just 2 months after an assassination attempt. The former president shot and wounded at a rally in Butler County, Pennsylvania. FBI officials have not released a motive in that investigation. Tonight, Senator Lindsey Graham posting on X, he spoke with the former president, writing, "He is one of the strongest people I've ever known. He's in good spirits, and he is more resolved than ever to save our country."
Folks, there you heard it. Of course, that was actually my first time hearing that story in its entirety again. Of course, I originally heard the story on Twitter. I saw the headlines. I had initial thoughts. I kept scrolling. But I'll share those thoughts now with you guys in detail. What do I make of this second attempt on Donald Trump's life? Folks, I take it the same way I took the first one. I'm not really buying it. For a number of reasons, right? And again, this is, of course, when you start talking like this, they start throwing you in a category of conspiracy theorist and, oh, he's this, he's that, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Believe what you want to believe. Of course, I'm entitled to my own opinion. You're entitled to yours. So you heard it there in the story, folks. Sounds like this time they did listen to the witness. I heard, of course, in the first performance, in the first assassination performance, they said people, you know, saw the shooter on the roof. People saw him set up, was laying down. There's a man on the roof. There's a man on the roof. Nobody paid him any mind. He had time to set up shop, get off a few shots, blah, 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 blah. That's what happened during their first Academy Award performance. I don't necessarily think that, okay, let's say, okay, again, taking this at face value, let's say this is indeed true. If this is indeed a situation that is indeed true, 2 attempts on Donald Trump's life in less than 5 months is a bit unique because we've not necessarily seen anything like this before. Of course, there's been assassination attempts on other presidents before. Yes, I'm aware. Kennedy, I'm aware of all of that. But in this particular situation, I think the image that was trying to be portrayed before and that's still trying to be portrayed now is that Trump is this hero that's overcoming all his obstacles, and he's a man of the people, and he's risking his life for us civilians, man. So we have to vote for him now, man. He's a hero. He's dodging bullets and, or taking shots and putting his life in danger for the sake and the betterment of the people. That's one way how this narrative can be portrayed. It also speaks on, like they said in the first attempt as well too, just the lack of just proper protocol. Of course, you heard the one gentleman say, "Oh, what we usually do." He was on, I don't know, golf or whatever, but he was in one section of the golf course, and they usually go one ahead just to kind of scope out the area. Folks, to my understanding, how I thought this usually works, anytime a president, except, of course, this is a former president, maybe soon to be next president, future president. Anytime a president is stepping out to do anything, show up at an event, whether, any type of public event, to my understanding, they surveil the place, they shut it down, whether it's an auditorium, wherever it is, there's proper protocol and procedures that goes into place to make sure they're all clear, right? All clear, systems will go, all clear, right? They do a full sweep of the place, make sure the place is clean, barricaded, do what you got to do. So it's just interesting to me how whoever this attempted shooter was had the drop on Trump, as they would say. Yeah, I got the drop on him. I know he's going to be at the golf course. I'm going to set up shop, set up my, my weapons. I got a GoPro. How would you know that information? Again, I'm just speculating. I'm just going off of what was said. So it would mean the shooter got the drop on Trump. Hey, I got him. Yeah, yo, Trump is down here at the golf course. Pull up. I got the drop on him. I got the low on Trump. As they usually say. And I'm not laughing. I'm laughing, just to kind of be whatever. But you got the drop on Trump. Second attempt on his life in less than 5 months. Did they really want him out of office that bad? Is it that detrimental that Trump should not be president of the United States again? Some people would say, yeah, hell yeah, man. We can't afford to have Trump to be the president. No, it can't be. It has to be Kamala. Why isn't Kamala getting, and again, I'm not wishing this on anybody as well, too. And I even said this in another video as well, too. In the first attempt, I said, I'm actually pretty shocked. The first video I said as well, too, I would have thought this would have happened to Obama. I would have thought all these assassination attempts, again, this is not me wishing death or ill will. Shout out to President Obama. But honestly, I was one of those people who thought that America wasn't ready to see a black president. I was fearful when news broke. It was a bittersweet occasion for me when I heard that President Obama was the new president during his era, because I was under the impression that the racial tension was too high in America at that time, and we were not ready to accept, or the world was not ready to accept. Let me not say we. The world was not ready to accept an African-American president of the United States. So I was fearful for him. I was happy for him. Thought it was a pivotal moment in our history, pivotal moment in our society and our culture. But I was fearful that, oh man, all these, white supremacists, and you got all these other organizations. I thought, oh no, for sure they won't allow their good old America to be ran by an African American male off of just pure ignorance, right? Pure ignorance that we still see in this world today. So for President Obama to go unscathed, untouched, unattempted, due to the grace of God, and Trump to already be 2 attempts in, wow, they must really not want this guy to be president. They must want him out of there for whatever reason. Is this to say the same thing will happen to Kamala? Not wishing it on her. Shout out to Kamala Harris. What do we make of this situation, folks? That's just my thoughts, folks. Of course, I don't want to harp on this too long. Of course, you probably already know my sentiments. I don't really like talking about politics anyway. But again, this was culturally relevant news. Some of us, of course, are anticipating making our way to the poll and voting. Whether it's Trump, whether it's Kamala, whatever your voting preference is, some of us are indeed emotionally invested in the outcome of this upcoming election. So I want to hear from you guys. What do you make of it? What do you make of this assassination attempt number 2 on Donald Trump? Was it phooey then? Is it phooey now? Are you concerned? Are you genuinely concerned about the well-being of President Trump if you're a fan of Trump? Are you worried for him? Do you not want him now to be president because of these attempts on his life? What does it mean of our society where people can take it upon themselves to commit such an act? Again, of course, you always hear people complaining about the gun laws and how the gun laws are not strict enough. We hear all these school shootings. We hear about all these, weapons that are being used on everyday civilians, yada, yada, yada. What do you make of the gun laws in this country? Are they strict or not strict enough? How do you feel about your own safety in this world, where it feels like any public setting nowadays? You can't even go to churches. You can't go to grocery stores. You can't go to, looks like now, golf courses without looking over your shoulder. And in hopes of somebody not knocking your head off, as they would say. Honestly, folks, again, with all of these situations, I personally try not to get too emotionally invested. Again, I have no gripe with Donald Trump. I have no gripe with Kamala Harris. I just don't care for politics. And I'm very skeptical of the narrative that the mainstream media portrays, because we do have a history of the mainstream media lying to us. Do you guys forget? Don't forget. Again, you don't got to be a conspiracy theorist to believe that. History has shown on multiple occasions, the mainstream media has portrayed one story, only for us later to find out that in reality, that story was not true. Friends, I think this is indeed one of those stories. That's my take. I want to hear yours down in the comment section below. Of course, all the likes, the comments, the subscribes are all greatly appreciated. I will catch you on the next one.